All right, CMA candidates, let's talk about one of the most powerful tools you'll have for the exam, common size financial statements. Seriously, this technique is a game changer. It's designed to cut through the noise of raw data and give you some really powerful insights. Let's dive in.
So think about it. How would you even begin to compare these two companies? It seems almost impossible, doesn't it? Just looking at the raw dollar amounts is like trying to compare a speedboat to a massive aircraft carrier. The difference in scale is so huge that any direct comparison is going to be tough and probably pretty misleading. And that is the exact problem that common size statements solve.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about how to get a true apples-to-apples comparison. Then, we'll walk through the recipe for both the income statement and the balance sheet. After that, and this is the important part, we'll talk about how to turn all those numbers into real insights. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with some key tips to make sure you absolutely ace this on your exam.
So how do we level that playing field between the speedboat and the aircraft carrier? Well, there's a technique that acts as the great equalizer in financial analysis. It lets us make those true apples-to-apples comparisons we're looking for.
And here it is, the common size statement. It's a really simple but brilliant idea. It works by taking every single line item and converting it into a percentage of a key total. This simple trick transforms all those confusing, massive dollar amounts into a common language of percentages. It allows for direct, meaningful comparisons, no matter how big or small the company is.
Now, here's the best part. It all boils down to just two golden rules you need to remember for your exam. Super simple. For the income statement, net sales is king. We always set that to 100%. For the balance sheet, total assets is our anchor, and we set that to 100%. You master these two rules, and honestly, you've pretty much mastered the entire concept.
Okay, let's get our hands dirty and see how this recipe actually works in practice, starting with the income statement.
So here we have a totally standard income statement. You can see the big numbers, the absolute dollar amounts. Net sales at $1.8 million, gross profit at $150,000, and so on. Now these numbers tell us something, but their relationship to each other, how they fit into the bigger picture, that's not immediately obvious.
The conversion process is just a simple two-step dance. First, you anchor the whole thing by setting net sales to 100%. Second, you take every other line item, cost of goods sold, selling expenses, net income, the whole shebang, and you divide each one by that net sales figure. That's literally it.
And here's what happens. It's like magic. Our $1.8 million in net sales is now our 100% baseline. Now, check out gross profit. We just take the original $150,000, divide it by the $1.8 million in sales, and we get 8.3%. All of a sudden, we have a much clearer picture of the company's core profitability.
Okay, you've got the income statement down. Now let's apply that exact same logic to the balance sheet. The principle is identical. We just need to swap out our base figure.
Here's our starting point, a traditional balance sheet. You've got assets on one side, liabilities and equity on the other. And notice, total assets equals total liabilities and stockholders' equity, both sitting at $1.8 million. The accounting equation is in perfect balance, just like it should be.
The recipe here is just as straightforward. Step 1, we set our base. This time, total assets becomes 100%. Step 2, we divide every single line item on that balance sheet, from cash to long-term debt to equity, by that total assets figure.
And voila! Total assets is now 100%. We can instantly see things we couldn't before. For example, current assets make up 42.2% of the company's total resources. And we see that total liabilities represent a 55.6% claim on those assets. The whole structure of the company just becomes crystal clear.
And here's the crucial takeaway. Even after converting everything to percentages, that fundamental accounting equation remains perfectly balanced. Our total assets at 100% are perfectly matched by our total liabilities and stockholders' equity, which also, of course, add up to 100%. The scale stays perfectly level.
Okay, for the CMA exam, doing the calculation is only half the battle. The real points are scored when you can interpret what those numbers mean. This is what analysts do in the real world. They use these percentages to spot trends and see how a company stacks up against its competitors. So what stories are these percentages actually telling us?
Let's translate this into plain English. A gross profit of 8.3% means that for every single dollar that comes in from sales, only about 8 cents are left over after paying for the goods themselves. In an operating income of 4.7%, That tells us that after all the other core business costs are paid, just under a nickel is left over from that dollar. This gives us a really powerful read on the company's efficiency.
Now, on the balance sheet, seeing current assets at 42.2% tells us that for every dollar of assets the company owns, about 42 cents are liquid and can be converted to cash pretty quickly. And seeing total liabilities at 55.6%, that gives us a clear snapshot of financial risk. It means that creditors, not the owners, have a claim on over half of the company's assets.
All right, let's bring this all home and focus squarely on exam day. How do you take all this knowledge and turn it into points on your CMA exam?
Pay close attention to this quote from your study materials. It's basically giving you the answer key. The exam isn't just going to ask you to calculate a percentage. No way. It's going to test if you can apply this knowledge to really understand why a percentage changed or what a certain cost structure means for the company's health.
And you've got to watch out for these common traps. The easiest mistake in the world is using the wrong base. So just burn it into your brain. Sales for the income statement, assets for the balance sheet. Don't mix them up. And most importantly, never just stop at the calculation. Always be ready to explain the so what, the business reason behind the number.
Here's a pro tip for you, a great little mental shortcut for the exam. If you see the term vertical analysis, your brain should immediately think common size statements. Vertical analysis is simply analyzing the percentages up and down a single statement for one period. That's exactly what we've been doing. Remembering that connection will really help you out. So, as we've seen, common size statements are way more than just a calculation. They're a translation tool. They turn messy, complex data into a universal language of percentages, and they let you look past sheer size to see the true financial story of any business. The real question is, now that you have this tool in your toolkit, what stories are you going to uncover?